Okay, we are live. Wonderful. Hello, hi everyone. I am going to stop sharing my screen for a minute so that you don't just see my screen. Good evening. Thank you everyone for joining. Very excited about today, and I'm very excited to be speaking to you, Lindsay. It feels like a privilege and an honour to have this opportunity.
Likewise.
So I'm gonna kick off with a little bit of an introduction and some very boring housekeeping. So hi, I'm Laura. I work for National Trails UK, which is the only independent champion of the UK's beautiful national trails. And we're one of the charities that Lindsay has really kindly chosen to support last year and now this year with her next challenge, which she will talk about later. Absolutely delighted to have Lindsay here and absolutely delighted to be here. Just quick housekeeping. I'm going to share my screen again. Quick housekeeping notes. This was on earlier. Present. There we go. So microphones and cameras have been turned off for this event just because it makes it a little bit easier in terms of tech, and we don't get loud munching noises, people eating food, which has been, except for Lindsay. Yeah, but that said, there is a chat box which should be somewhere in the top of the top toolbar, so you can chat and introduce yourselves, and there's also a Q&A box which is also in the top toolbar, and if you put a question in the Q&A box, we'll get a little notification and then we will sort up all those questions and ask Lindsay live. So do feel free to pop in any questions at any point during the event.
Keep them clean, please. Keep them clean.
Yes, keep them clean. Or we're recording it, but we'll edit the recording to get rid of any nonsense. We'll kick you out. So I'll just kick off quickly, and I want to talk a little bit more about National Trails and National Trails UK, because I think we take for granted that everyone knows what National Trails are, but I think lots of people have been on National Trails, but they don't necessarily know that they've been on a National Trail. So National Trails are essentially long distance designated routes which crisscross all over the UK. And I have a little map there, and if you're very clever, you can scan that QR code and it will take you to a GIS map that my lovely colleague Hannah has put together for us, where you can zoom in, and it's brilliant. Do take a look at those. There's 20 of them at the moment, 20 national trails, but the England Coast Path and the Coast to Coast routes are going to be designated very soon, probably within the next 18 months, which will expand the network significantly. The fact that they're designated by government means that they meet high quality standards that set them apart from other public rights of way, not just in terms of the quality of the route, the path on the ground itself, but also the landscapes that they pass through are particularly special in the UK, and the experience they offer to all sorts of people, whether they're hiking, whether they're wheeling, whether they're riding, whether they're going on a family bike ride. They're generally regarded as the golden standard of access routes to the UK's finest landscapes. So they're very special. And when Lindsay did her challenge, she walked the England Coast Path, which, when it's designated and fully open next year, will be the world's longest managed coastal trail. So it is very much a national asset and very pretty special that Lindsay has walked the whole thing already. So national trails can be recognised by the little acorn marker, which you can see in the picture kind of in the middle at the bottom. There's a little acorn. That's if you're in England and Wales, or if you're in Scotland, there's a marker which looks a bit like a thistle, which is the one in the bottom right. So if you've been out and about walking or having an adventure and you've spotted one of those markers, it means you're on a national trail. The one behind me is from Hadrian's Wall Path, which I took last year. year, and I always get very excited when I see them. So why National Trails UK? So we are the only independent champion of the National Trails, which means we're completely separate from government, and that puts us in a unique position to speak up for National Trails, and to ensure that they get the funding and the protection that they need to stay protected, to stay managed, and to remain high quality, inspirational and nature rich routes into our finest landscapes. We also do a lot of work around removing barriers to the outdoors, so that everyone feels welcome in the outdoors and able to get outside. So whether the barriers be physical or cultural or financial or social, we work to identify and work with grassroots organisations to make sure that more people can use our national trails, to experience the benefits of being in nature. So of course we were completely delighted when Lindsay approached us asking if we'd support her challenge, to hike the entire coastline of Great Britain, including some of our best known national trails, to raise funding and awareness for the transformational power of being in nature. It was totally in line with our vision and what we wanted to do. So we said, yes, of course, we would absolutely love you to do this for us. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to kick off with our first question to Lindsay, which was actually sent in through Instagram, and I thought this was a brilliant one to start off with. And Lindsay, you know what I'm going to ask, and I'm excited about this one. So we'd love to know more about you, but like the things that people don't know about on Instagram when you're out walking, like what did you do when you left school? What's your side hustle when you're not adventuring? And my favourite question, the burning question, is where did you learn to dance? So over to you, Lindsay.
Right, so hang on. What was the first one?
Sorry.
First of all, hello, hi, I'm Linz. Nice to meet you all. And just in case you didn't know, last year I decided to hike around Great Britain. I made it my mission, and I continue to make it my mission to help inspire as many people as I can to go hang out with nature, because it makes us feel so good. It doesn't matter what is happening in your life. If you go and spend a bit of time with nature, it will clear your head, clear your mind, fill your heart with a bit more happiness, and you'll go back indoors and feel 100 times better. So that's kind of why my mission ended up being 6,136 miles spent over 298 days with nature. And that was all hiked on foot, completely self-supported. But I ended up being, I felt part of a huge community, because the amount of people that came, supported, walked. I had over 700 people join me. The hospitality industry gifted my very weary body at times over 160 night stays. Over 30 nights were given by people that I just met randomly that said, come stay with us, we'll feed you. So yeah, the mission itself was completed and achieved, and we raised over £14,800 altogether for you and for Mind, and we'll continue to do that. But the ultimate mission, to get people out in nature, has been achieved, because I was hoping to do that for one person. So the fact that we've done it for hundreds is, I'm very pleased.
And it's a brilliant way. I think people want to be involved and part of something and part of someone else's journey. And the fact that you are encouraging people to be part of your journey is very motivational, and it gives people something, to a reason, I think, to get out there and to join you. So it's a brilliant mission to have. And I'm going to go back to my question, but I'm going to feed it in there.
Please.
Right. When people, and thank you, and it's brilliant and amazing, and we have a
I
lot
thought, just
to
in
unpick
case
there.
anyone doesn't know what the hell I've done.
You did this little thing last year, where this little walk, didn't you? Sort of, Yeah, little walk
What,
that
do
you
you
just
know,
did. Yeah.
weirdly, Laura, it was that. It was I woke up every morning and that was how I approached every day. I was going for that walk for that day with an open heart, just to embrace whatever happened in that day. And I think that is the power of approaching something one step at a time. And
Mm,
especially with our mental health, when we're
mm,
looking at a mountain or miles or whatever that might be, or trying to cope with something, when we approach it one step at a time, it breaks it right down, and suddenly that is achievable in our life, or we can get
mm.
over that obstacle or that, yeah, whatever that might be.
Yeah, that's really wise, very wise. If something's feeling overwhelming, you
Or
break
you
it.
can dance it out, of course. You
Yeah,
can
or
dance
dance
it
out.
out.
But that
I
is the
dance.
question. That's the question. Right, Lindsay.
Okay. Yes.
Let's rewind. Let's go back. So
You won.
let's tell us about you and your background and where did you learn to dance?
I learned to dance from a very young age because I grew up with wonderful parents that absolutely loved music. So there were masses of vinyls. Uh, I remember my first album that I brought, I think, was "You Spin Me Right Round, Baby, Right Round Like a Record Baby." But I grew
That's
up
me.
with Rolling Stones, The Cream, all sorts, and that uh, yeah, Mum and Dad always said I used to stand in the lounge and just start dancing. If they had friends over, I'd just start wiggling, and that
Oh,
has continued.
Wiggly Lindsay.
Wiggly limbs, yeah, I've never stopped. I just when you hear music, I don't know, it just takes me on this beautiful emotional journey that my body seems to listen to, and it's another wonderful release of expressionism, isn't it? Yeah, I think
Well, it's
more of us should do it. You should close your eyes, forget about what anyone else thinks, and just let everything that you're feeling out, and it feels incredible.
it's wonderful to watch. It's infectious and it's joyous. And
We
does
dance.
your love of movement and freedom, does that translate into your work at all? What do you do as a side hustle when you're not adventuring?
Your side hustle.
Yeah.
So this, I, this is actually, if we rewind 6 years, so I was working, this was just before COVID. So I had my interior design business, very creative. I was
Mm,
working with collaborating with five brilliant other freelance designers, and we were designing restaurants, bars, hotels. And I was working, I would say, 100 hours a week at that point. I guess I'm an all or nothing personality, but I think with what was happening in my life as well, I had immersed myself deeply into into that because it felt creative and it felt good. Um, and then COVID hit, and I was forced to stop. I was forced to pause in my life. And however painful and upsetting a lot of COVID was, the pandemic, it also helped me breathe and remember who I was, and help me reconnect with my children far more than I was, with my family, with friends. It gifted me this window of time to pause and reflect about how I had been living, and now how I wanted to live my life. I started walking again with nature, which I used to do. But over those 3 years of running my own business and other things that were happening in my life, that time I suddenly I don't know, I felt like someone had stripped me naked, and I was walking and felt free and like a child, and I was just like, oh my, this feels incredible. I'd forgotten that feeling. I'd
mm,
got so immersed in this doing mode. At that point, I decided that when COVID, the pandemic ended, the bucket list I had in my life would be pushed to one side, and I turned that into my live it now list, because I had lost people I loved very much. I have people that have suffered from addictions, from depression, and the one thing that, being around all of those people that I love, is that when you are with nature, um, you feel 100 times better. And I thought, you just never know when your time might be up. So it inspired me to spend more time with nature, be more with the ones that I loved, and inspire others to get outdoors as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Lindsay. Really beautiful words, really moving. I think we've all been in situations where we've lost someone we love, or where we're so embedded in the day-to-day
Mm.
busyness that we forget to step back and realize actually our time is short, and we need to make the most of it, and we need to make time to do the things that we love and be with the people that we love, and that's the most important thing. So thank you for sharing, for embodying that message so powerfully. um, so my next question, I think you've partly you've answered this already, but I think we're interested to know what was it that inspired your LinziWalks challenge particularly, but also why did you choose to support these two charities, National Trails UK and Mind? Was there a particular a moment in your life which made us resonate with you, or did you just feel that these were the charities that align with the values that you were trying to pursue when you did your challenge? So it's two questions: what inspired this challenge, why did you choose to support N2UK in Mind?
I think the life that I've led and the things that have happened within it, and seeing loved ones travel through or journey with addiction, um, or depression, or often both combined. Um, and in my own life, having experienced being in abusive relationships, all of those, they take time. I think if someone has time to pause and be present and reflect, and that, when you are with nature, you get an abundance of that, but you also get you get to release unpackage all of your thoughts, feelings, emotions without any judgment whatsoever. It's a bit like when you go and visit a counsellor. They're not there to judge. And nature, I've always found, has helped the ones that I love traveling through those mental health issues or addictions. And for me, giving me the strength to be the strongest I can be for them. So going out and being with nature, you can scream in it, dance in it, shout in it. It will
Mm.
absorb your energy, still love you all the same, and will help clear your mind and help you make different decisions, make different and better choices in your life. Yeah.
It's a great leveler, isn't it? You can have different people outdoors experiencing the same rain and the same wind and the same cold and or the
Yeah.
sunshine, or whatever, and it's not like you're in your office over there and I'm in my office over here. It brings people together, and it removes those barriers.
Funny
So
you say that, because when I came out of lockdown, I made a promise that I would love to go and do the French Camino. And for anyone that doesn't know what a Camino is, so these are ancient, I'd call them, pilgrimage walks, paths that are to do with religion. I'm personally not religious, but I think anyone that goes on those, you are all like-minded souls, whoever your God may be, your belief may be, your spirituality may be, you're all on the same path, traveling on this journey to the same destination with a shared experience within nature. And the moment I came out of lockdown, I went and I did that. It was 527 miles. and changed my entire
Mm.
life moving forwards. It was the most content and happiest. I had my backpack on my back. Life was the simplest it had ever been. I met people from all over the world with rocking up because of whatever they needed from that experience. Um, and that deep sense of happiness, I thought,
Mm.
how do I continue doing this? How do I want to keep living like this? I don't want this to stop. And I thought, how do I inspire other people? So that was how the LinziWalks was born. I guess I decided that, right, if I create an incredible walk, I guess, that I do, then I was almost, I guess, trying to create a giant British Camino.
Well, maybe that's what it will be, because
Yeah.
you've got the
uh,
route on there now, haven't you, with the fastest known time, so anyone can go and do it, either to beat the time or to
yeah, or
just to do
just
it.
enjoy,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I encourage, that will be on my website actually, so anyone can go on there and download that. It's one of the things as a um whenever I'm planning and mapping, if you can find somebody else's GPX file that they've already walked it, it's brilliant because you can download it, adapt it to how you want. So it's one of the things that, yes, will be on my website as of April. Lots of downloadable routes for people to
Oh,
just download, use, and go and explore. Yeah.
I think that's one thing that we're really passionate about at NTUK is, yes, it's, you can do, people do the whole Pennine Way, or they do the whole Cotswolds Way, or they, maybe, or the Southwest Coast Pass, and they do it in one go, and that's their Camino and their pilgrimage. But then for lots of people, their Camino isn't necessarily a long distance hike. It could be, people just joined you for a mile on your
Yeah.
journey, and you don't have to you don't have to go outdoors. I think lots of people feel that, oh, it's these walks are only for the long distance hikers with
No.
their big backpacks, but actually it's not. You can just go out and just be in nature and absorb it, have a picnic and look out to
Yeah.
sea, or just walk a mile or 2 miles or whatever you want to do, but you don't need to take 10 months off.
No. That definitely, I think the only reason I did that is because I knew that perhaps that was much more likely to give nature a voice
Mm.
than me going out doing a mile every day. Whereas by doing something with a far greater impact, it might, I hoped, would lodge in somebody's mind, oh, there she is again. Yeah, I'm going to go and do my mile. I'm going to go and sit in the sunshine, or oh, I'm going to go and listen to some music in the park today. And it has seemed to have worked, which is good. I mean, on the
Yeah.
Camino that I did, actually, this is a shout out to Claire and Phil. So when I did the southwest southwest coastal path section, as I was hiking around Great Britain, these guys, that was exactly what they were doing. They went back and did it. They went and did a section, came away, then went and did another section. I think they'd done it over 4 years. Please, I'm so sorry if I got
Oh,
that wrong, Claire
mm.
and Phil. um,
Something.
but that's
Yeah.
so many people that I met. That's very much, that's how they're doing it. They're doing it, and however you're doing it, as long as you're doing it, is what I
Yeah.
say. Yeah, a mile, a while, or a smile, or yeah, any rhyming words there.
And how many people did you have you joining your final mile?
I think there was 15 or 16. Yeah, it sounded like there were, when I think it was BBC Essex, they then did one, and they went, crikeys, it sounds like there's so many. I thought they were very loud. It was lovely. Now, and again, some of those had come from Scotland. They'd come from, it was incredible. Yeah, someone
Wow.
I'd met in
Wow.
April, Mel. She was, Mel, if you're listening as well, she was absolutely lovely. And I know that she won't mind. I met her and she'd been diagnosed with cancer. And then when she met me at the end, she's been given the all clear. So I, over that
Oh,
10-month journey, that's, yeah, to that one moment meeting her, I've then journeyed our lives together. There's, yeah, it's,
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
I
That
feel very fortunate.
that leads nicely onto a question, another question
Oh,
we had from Instagram, which the question is, what were your three favorite days and why? But I think we'd also be interested to know if there were any other moments like the one that you've just described, which really stood out to you. So standout days and standout moments that have stayed with you and will always stay with you.
four. That's it's a victory. Picking three. I think there is one particular day where I went from Glenfinnan. It was in Scotland, and this was a 19-mile section. It's part of the Cape Wrath Trail as well. And I started, and I was about an hour in, and I saw three guys. They came out of a bothy. I said, "Morning." They were like, "Morning." Started walking. Now, this section, this 19-mile section, is known to be incredibly difficult. Put it that way. Like an SAS guy was lost for 7 days and got found. Fortunately, it's one of those parts of the hike that well, which will come to light here. So as I did those 19 miles, I passed a family of 8. Um, and then I passed another set of 3. As I got to the bothy after 19 miles, this was an incredible 19 miles. You don't really, you see someone, but you're in the middle of the mountains, rockery, it's, yeah, you've got to know, you've got to have your navigation, got to know where you're going, what you're doing. And it was stunning. I was
Mm.
on an absolute high, and when you get to the end, there was this vast opening of water, of lake, with 2 mountains either
Oh.
side. The sun was starting to set. The other 4 that I'd passed, they turned up. We all just stripped off and went in the water. It's like, oh yeah. And I thought, I don't know, it was one of those days. But then the family of 8 then arrived. They arrived 4 hours later. The young girl was sobbing, bless her.
Oh,
She could
wow.
barely move. Her back had gone. And there was no, of course, there's no Wi-Fi, there's nothing here. Fortunately, one of the gillies earlier, now a gillie is someone that works on the estate and looks after the natural habitat and clients that come over there to explore. He'd randomly come by on a paddleboard, and I, being Linz, accosted him. I ran out into the water. I went, "Hello, what are you doing? Who are you?" So he came over and he spoke to us all and explained that weirdly, it was discussed that they had Wi-Fi. So, of course, when this family turned up and the daughter was in absolute agony, all of us knew that there's no way she would have, you had to climb, as in, you know, oh my God, I've gone blank. What do you call it? Scramble. So she would have had to have scrambled. And then there were sinkholes the other side of it that the gillie had told us. So I just said to them, look, why don't you sit tight? And as the sun comes up tomorrow morning, I'll make sure I go over to the estate before heading off onto the rest of my hike. Um, went went to the gillies. I said to them, look, she can't move. She can't move, nothing. Can you please guarantee to me that you are going to send your super boat things over there, and make sure that she's safe? And if she needs to get to the hospital, she gets to the hospital. Um, they said, that's absolutely fine. So I then hiked the rest of my hike. When I arrived that evening, I arrived at what they call the most remote pub in England, I think. And who was there? The entire family, because they knew where I was walking to. They had sat there, waited, and as I came
Oh.
in, they all they all went,
Oh.
Liz, we can't thank you enough. She's fine. We've had her seen. I burst into tears because
Oh.
I had getting a bit emotional now
Oh.
because I'd worried because there's no communication. I just thought, God, please, boys, you made me a promise. Just make sure that you pick them up. And they did, and the family were just there. I got a picture with them, and they donated as well. They donated £50 to
Oh.
actually it was to mine. It wasn't the National Bloody Tales, but they sorry mind. I feel bad for that. But they donated, and it was one of those stories that I will not
Stuck with
ever.
you.
That was one of those days.
You'll have to put when you put this video online, put the picture as well of
I
that
will.
family, so we can
Yeah.
see who you're. Yeah, and do you
Yeah.
still keep in touch with them? Do you keep in touch with many people who you met?
I do. Yeah, there's a good amount that have stayed in contact, yeah. Either personally, or they've just stayed through Instagram, yeah, as well. But yeah,
Oh. And do you have any moments when, I mean, in all of your updates all over social media, you always looked really cheerful and loving it. But were there any moments when you thought, oh, this is all going a bit pear-shaped? Or
not pear-shaped, but I think obviously I hit 7 different levels of new mental, physical, and emotional strength on this journey. Now, I didn't even know I had one extra level. So 8 weeks in, obviously I'd done the French Camino, so I'd walked solidly for 27 days. So I knew my body knew what that felt like. I'd done the Portuguese Camino, I'd done other challenges with mountains, but nothing any more than a month. So when I got to, I think it was around 8 weeks, my mind was going, yeah, that's whoa, this is great. And my body went, what the hell are we doing? What is I my legs were I that was feeling pain I'd never ever felt before. And I knew that something, well, that was the only time I think that I thought, right, am I physically going to be able to do this? Because I was only 8 weeks in at that point, and I had to talk to myself and reassure myself that that was where that breaking it down. This is one day, Linz. You're gonna do one day, and remember, focus on the little things. And I used to tell my body, and I still do, that I love it, that it's got this. And if something hurts, that's okay. Let's work out what that is. I did discover that nutritionally, I was only consuming enough at that point, protein wise, as someone working at their desk each day. So, of course, I was walking the equivalent of a marathon. And a very lovely nutritionist, Lucy, said, Linz, you need to eat more protein. So I said, look, how do I get this in? What am I? And that is when I became the canned fish queen woman, smelling of just canned fish all the time.
are you sponsored by a canned fish company?
Honestly, mackerel in brine. I still to this day, I still try to have two. I just have 2 cans of fish every day, 2 boiled eggs, 2 bananas, everything I did in twos. Two, and that very powerful, that small change um had a very powerful effect nutritionally on my body. Yeah. So
That's
thank you,
important, isn't
Lucy.
it? We need to feed our minds and our bodies and look after ourselves, whether we're doing 26 miles a day or whether we're just trying to get through life. We need to take that time, don't we, to be kind to our bodies and to our minds,
Yeah.
and eat well and live well and take the moment to experience the little the little joys and the little achievements. So more wise words. And on that note, did you find there was a particular place that particularly spoke to you? You've spoken about Scotland. I know that you did all the three peaks as well. Were there any mountaintop moments along that journey?
I think I did the three peaks, and I think what for me, I fell in love with the west coast of Scotland. A Absolutely, I think a piece of me. I don't know. I felt like I don't know. I feel like I belong there. There was something. It's so untouched by us. It's very natural, and the communities are that true sense of the word community. They're still they're still small, and still everyone kind of has a rough idea of what's happening. And if you needed a pot of sugar, you can have a pot of sugar. And I it was the only time throughout my whole entire hike that I constantly got offered lifts. I obviously didn't
Oh,
accept these lifts, but the fact that people would stop and they'd say, "You all right? Do you want a lift? Because you got about, X amount of miles till you hit a town," or and then we'd just get talking. Sometimes I never even shared what I was doing. Because and sometimes I think, well, maybe I should have shared it more, but obviously I don't know. There's a time and a place, isn't there? And
mm,
sometimes you're just connecting with another human being for no other reason than you're just connecting.
mm.
Yeah.
And do you feel you've spoken a lot about connecting with communities, connecting with yourself, about encouraging people to get out into nature and to be kind to themselves. And um, do you think on this journey, do you think you accomplished what you set out to achieve? And what if you could share a lesson to other people from what you did on your journey? What would you want other people to take and to learn from what you've achieved?
I think, I get emotional because did I set out what I hoped to achieve? I hoped to help one person, and not very good at this bit. And I was actually astounded how many people it seemed to help. So yeah, and I still will. I feel very grateful and very moved that it has managed to help, yeah, more people than I'd ever realized or hoped that it would. So, and that was with, again, that's not me. Yes, I know I walked it, but a lot of people, that's a community of us humans, just our kindness all coming together to be kind to one another and create some good. It didn't, that doesn't cost it. Kindness costs nothing. Yeah. So did I achieve what I set out? I freaking slam dunked it. Well, I didn't. All of these people slam dunked it. Yeah, it was achieved far more than I could have ever hoped. Yeah.
And what do you want other people to learn from that?
I would love people to learn that we are surrounded by these manufactured walls that we have created in life. And like my 100-hour week that is so focused, we're all in our lives and doing those things. And I would just ask you to remember that we are these beautiful human beings. And when we are with nature, which is our natural environment, it allows us to remember just how beautiful and kind we are and our planet is to us. It will nurture us far more than these four walls and the things that we keep creating. Yeah, it removes all the pressures in our lives and our fast-paced lives that we seem to have created. just remember that you can push, you can slow down if you want. The world keeps spinning. And sometimes I know that that terrifies many of us, but you will actually, you will end up winning by doing that. So please go hang out with nature.
And I think that we're so pummeled every day by what's going on, awful things that are going on in the world, and we need to be aware of that. We need to know what's happening,
Yes.
but it's important to balance that with, okay, I can absorb this much of that type of news in my mind, but I need to now go out and absorb something positive.
I think it
And
helps us action that as
yeah,
well. So when there's a lot of negativity around us, when we're able to go out into this big open space instead, it just allows us to be able to almost choose and think, what's the one little thing that I can actually do that would help? Because, things don't change through big, massive things. It's often lots and lots and lots of little things and lots of human beings that all come together that create change. So even that, just going out into nature gives us that time to breathe, reflect, and think, okay, that is happening, but I could do this to perhaps help this, or I can do this for my own life, the ones that I love. Yeah. Lots of
thank
positives founded with nature.
Thank you. And I think that's one thing that we at NCUK obviously really passionate about is, national trails are one way that people can access the outdoors however they like. And
Yeah.
it connects us. It's 6,000 miles of trail going through our finest landscapes, and there are a chance for you to connect with other people, to connect with nature, to connect with yourself. And obviously you raised another thing that I want to congratulate you on achieving, is that you did raise an awful lot of money to support two charities that were very close to your heart, and that is, that's important. It enables us to make an impact as well. So I'd like to thank everyone who donated to you and who supported you on this challenge for helping you achieve that. So you've achieved many things, and you should be really proud. And I think that that leads on nicely to our next question, which is, we know that you have announced this on LinkedIn, but please share with us. We know you've got another adventure planned, haven't you, which will change lives. And please, could you tell us about your next exciting adventure that's in the pipeline?
So the next adventure. Well, I thought if I've done all the way round the outside of our beautiful country, this one is kind of, it brings us inward, inland, and that's in the UK and in other countries. So this year I've decided to summit with nature 300 mountains over 200 days. And the very final mountain will be in Tanzania and is the largest freestanding mountain in the world, Kilimanjaro. And that one will be with 6 incredible souls, where we will be attempting to set a new Guinness World Record within 24 hours, led by a wonderful man, Dave Pickles, who already holds 16 Guinness World Records on Kilimanjaro. Yes. But the it's basically 10 wonderful adventures. So it's oh, I've got to remember them. So it's going to be the I start with the Kintyre Way, which is 100 miles. That's up in Scotland. Then the Cape Wrath Trail, which is 270 miles, I think.
Back to
Then
Scotland.
yeah, first straight back up to Scotland. Then the Kintail Big Nine, which is 9 Munros. And this again, I will have my live beacon on my website. So that will go live, and that's for anyone, either if you just want to sit and follow me and go, whoa, where is she today? Or if you think, I want to go out and I fancy, joining Lindsay on this mountain for today. You can either just come up and do what some people said last year, I'm not stalking you, but I'd love to walk with you. So you can either do that or just message, contact, email, whatever you want, and organize ahead of time, because the flags again will say exactly when I'm there and when I'm doing it. So please join. Where did I get up to? Cape Wrath Trail, then the Kintail Big Nine, then it will be the Black Mountain Round, which is 25 mountains over 70 miles. I'm a bit excited about that one. That's then there's the Brecon Beacon 10 Challenge, so that's 10 mountains. The Brecon Beacon 20 Challenge, that's 20 mountains. Then I go and I do. This is one that I've been longing to do. It's the Via Francigena Camino. It is one of the oldest Camino. It's 1,200 miles long. I start at Canterbury Cathedral, and
wow.
then I walk. I then cross over to France, and I've just mapped all of this. That I'm like through forest, because as I map things as well, I get really excited, because obviously I can see what terrain it is and how remote it is, and so it takes me through France. Then it takes me to Switzerland through the Alps. I was like, getting very excited about that. And then it comes down through Italy. I've never been to Italy in my life, never been to Switzerland. And then I finish in Rome. That is, I'm very,
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. And
it's
how
one,
long would that take you?
that I've put that down for 60 days, that
Wow.
one. Yeah. And
Oh my
then come
gosh.
back and then go and do all the Wainwrights, 214 Wainwrights, which I've. Do you know the
Well, you
fastest time
still
for
have
that? I think
legs.
it's 5
You're
days.
gonna get
Someone's done that in 5 days.
you're
That's
gonna get
mad.
shorter as you go along because
Lindsay's no longer 5'10".
no, you're just gonna keep wearing down.
I think I love mountains. I've got a thing. I don't know, as you when you hike up, one of our planet's giants, and stand at the top of them. By the time you get to the top, just that entire journey, I don't know, you feel the smallest you've ever felt, but in the most magnificent way.
They're
With these,
humbling, aren't they? Yeah.
you just feel, I just think, thank you so much. I'm part of this incredible ecosystem, this giant planet and universe. And I'm part of this. And I'm this tiny little thing on top of a mountain, and I love it.
It's very
So
humbling,
please
isn't
come.
it?
Yeah.
It puts things into perspective. I mean, that's
Yeah.
incredible. And are you doing this all as a non-stop journey, or will you sleep at some point? How will it work out?
No, so I think this year it was very important for me to have time to reflect upon last year as well. So these challenges, I'll do a challenge, and then I have, a week in that particular place to the places that I passed through. I had the privilege to pass through. I now get to go back to enjoy the mountains, enjoy the views, truly absorb that landscape, that feeling, those communities, and be present there. So that's, was part of the reason, I think, why I created this challenge, because it means I get to be present in places and people can come join for other, because I'm sure I'll be walking other than just the mountains. So I'm
So
just going
that
to be going, Live Beacon, come join, come join.
so how I think we've got time for a two more questions, and one of the
Okay.
ones just coming off what you've just said is when you're doing your challenge next year or this year,
Yeah.
what can people do to support you, or to find you, or to get involved, or to support the charities that you're supporting as well? What can people do?
So, as in charities, on my website, which is just having a redesign, obviously to represent the new challenge, and also have a lot more information available from what I gathered throughout last year's challenge to help support people to get out into nature. So if you'd like to donate, you can either go on to Just Giving, good luck trying to find that amongst the other Just Givings, or you can just go onto my website and there are 2 donate buttons. If you click on that, it will just open the Just Giving page, and then you get to choose exactly what you would like to donate, whether you want to remain anonymous or not. Even if you just want to have a look at people's beautiful comments. The other day I sat there just going through, God, well, this is good, and I just thought, oh, it was beautiful. So that's how you can donate. If you would like to come and join me and walk on the website, on the homepage, which will be launching in April again, a map will show up. It has little black flags on it. Just all you need to do is if you click on that black flag, it tells you the day that I will be there, and you can then zoom in and you can come join, and as and when you want. You can email through the website as well. Please, on Instagram you can follow. I'm this year I'm going to attempt. I've set up a YouTube channel, so I'm going to attempt to kind of share my life, my life through YouTube. Um,
Oh, it's a lovely
Instagram and
idea.
things like that are very, it's, I only share a tiny minuscule amount of um it only captures a small amount, whereas I felt like YouTube, it's much more for me a documentary. So I'll be sharing a documentary of this year's adventure, the good, the bad, the ups, the downs, yeah.
We
I'm
look
eating
forward
more
to you
canned
getting
fish,
your.
everyone. Would you like to join me?
We look
Or
forward
I'm
to you
pulling
getting
a Mooney.
your Golden Globe award.
I have to say that another shout out to Nikki, who came and walked with me. She was the third woman to walk with me for an entire day. I only had 14 people that did that on the entire walk. And this woman, we wild weed together, which was brilliant. And then I walked over a big bridge, and I said, "If you just hold the camera for me," she said, "Yeah, okay." And I said, "Now video." And I said, "This is on my Live It Now list." And she went, "Oh, what?" She said, "What is this?" And I turned with my bottom to the oncoming traffic on the M5, and I pulled a Mooney. So
We might have
I
to censor this from the video. We
oh,
are
oh,
live, Lindsay.
sorry, sorry. No, no.
Wonderful. I mean, and good for Nikki, like
She
privileged
no,
to witness
and
that.
no, bless her. What she's going to do this year is she loves getting dressed up in these funny outfits. So she said, "Can we go as giant squids up one of the mountains?" So I said, "Yeah, of course we can." So we're going to
Giant
go
squid.
as go. She's got outfits, these squid outfits, and so we're going to climb one of the mountains. Yeah, as giant
Just as
squids.
giant. Why not? Why
Why
not?
not?
Why? I mean, every day you see a giant squid on top of the mountain, so not.
Every day's a squid day.
Not not unusual at all. We have just a few minutes left, so I want to ask you your last my our last question to you, and this is another Instagram one, and I think this is a really lovely one to end on. It's a beautiful question, which is, what would you say to someone who's listened to this now, who's been following you for the last year, and who feels really inspired to go on their own adventure, whether big or small, something that they have a bucket list and they'd like to turn it into a live it now list, but they don't know where to start or what to do or whether it's for them? What would you say to them?
I would say, first of all, I've solo hiked as a woman for 7 years now. Um, and the one tool that has made me feel safe whenever I'm in the middle of nowhere, have no Wi-Fi, nothing, is the app that I use. That's Outdoor Active. I map everything before I walk. So whatever walk you're about to go on, Either turn your Strava on or turn your outdoor active on, map it. I'd always say map it, whether it's 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, because it will bring you peace of mind. Whether the weather comes in, all sorts can happen when you're on a walk. But that, knowing that you've got that, yeah, well, it's always given me confidence.
Mm.
Yeah, planning, and make sure, make sure you've got your kit, sort your kit out, whether that's your backpacks, your clothes. Make sure you've tested your boots out. And I always say to people, forget about brands. They are your soulmates, quite literally. So try them on in the shop, jump around in them. If they hurt, they're not the ones for you. Try on another pair. Try them on until you find the ones that they're not painful. And they will take you on so many different adventures. Pack a pot of Vaseline and smother your feet in it, because that will prevent you getting blisters. No, that's your blister. Yeah. Always make sure you've got water on you, and food. Yeah. But on my
Planning.
website, planning, because then whatever happens,
Yeah.
you've got everything you need. Yeah.
And I'd add to that as well, I think for a lot of people, the cost of kit can be prohibitive. But there are some brilliant organizations out there. So there's a really good website called Pre-Loved Sports, and they sell used secondhand
Yeah.
but perfectly good outdoor gear for a fraction. I've bought tons of stuff from there for a
Yeah.
fraction of the price. Charity shops have all sorts of
I
things you
was just
can
going to say
borrow.
charity
Yeah.
shops.
You can borrow clothes. There was an organization I came across recently, which I've forgotten the name of, but I will send you a link, Lindsay, to put on your website, where they're trying to reduce waste, clothing waste, and stop
Yeah.
people from throwing away old sports gear. So they put it on their website and sell it for 1p. And the other
What are they
day,
called? I will
1p,
put them
one
on
penny.
my. That's what they're called, 1p.
They sell it. No, they sell it for 1p.
Right.
I can't remember the name of the. I'll send you the link
I
to
will
put
put
on
that
your
link
list.
on my website. Yeah.
And I bought what did I get? I got a sports bra and a really nice t-shirt, and my husband got a pair of shorts, and it cost us 3p. And so there are options out there for people who feel that cost is a barrier. Yeah, I think if you have the will to want to do something, then there is a way. There is
There is.
support out there, and I endorse Outdoor Active as well. They're a brilliant organisation. Or
Yeah.
Learn to Read a Map is another thing.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, I do always have a compass and a map with me. I took me and Mum did the 3 Yorkshire peaks, and my phone died on the last one. And the rain, the mist, everything had come in, and Mum
Mm.
was in a bit of a panic and went, "What the hell?" I went, "Dun dun dun! I have map, I have goals." She went,
What are these
"Really?"
paper things? What's
It was in the plastic sleeve, and I said, "All I know is that that's where we need to get to." I said, "Now we're not going to follow a path. We're just going to follow a straight line, because I know it was south or not, whatever it was." And we were trudging through this field, sinking things, and Mum went, "Are you sure?" I said, "We're gonna. It might take us, but we get there." And we did. We got there. We did it in less than 12 hours. So me and Mum got our lovely little Yorkshire Three Peak
Oh, did
badges.
you?
Yeah,
Oh, very nice.
yeah. Yeah, I think,
Congratulations.
yeah, hiking doesn't have to cost. Charity shops, like you say, are bloody brilliant. You don't have to spend masses of money on things. I'm very fortunate, and I went out to eco-conscious brands that I believe are endeavoring to manufacture and produce products that are kind to our planet and kind to us. So I knocked on their doors persistently and probably annoyed them hugely. Actually, but gratefully they caved, and no.
So do you want to Lindsay, before we close today, why don't you give a little shout out to, I know you've had some wonderful brand sponsors who have gifted you with some kit and overnight stays, and people who helped make your adventure a bit more affordable. Do you
Yeah,
want to give a bit of a shout out if you can remember them
I
and say thank
100%
you?
I remember them.
Yeah.
So as in for a bed, I had Hostel Scotland. They gifted me over 28 nights. Youth Hostel, uh, YHA, Youth Hostel Association. I've forgotten what the letters stood
Brilliant
for then.
organisation.
They,
Yep,
yeah,
brilliant.
brilliant. 48 nights they did. The In Collection did over 15 nights.
Mm,
My entire, from top to toe, my apparel was Rab, who I absolutely love. Lumi, she's a wonderful Scottish woman that has produced base layers made out of merino wool. So you don't get really stinky armpits and it breathes with you. I
smelly hellies.
she's done my base layers. The big bobble hat company, who I absolutely love. They keep all my dreams warm, I say. Yeah, and make my big dreams come true. My boots were sponsored by Go Outdoors, who are a brilliant company. Scott Sports, Michelle, I love you. Glasses, they gave me my shades, which sometimes I was like, woo, I'll just put these on because I can. And they did my head torch, and they also did my sandals and my
Wow.
kind of rest boots, I guess you'd say. And oh my goodness, who Osprey, crikey's the
Yes.
home on my back.
Yeah.
Literally, that was 100 litre. I carried around 20 to 30 kilograms every day on my back, but that had everything that I could possibly, or that I needed to thrive in life. And I think that puts it in perspective, really.
That's all you
That-
need.
Yeah, that
Right.
was really all I needed. Yeah, to to thrive.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, thank you to those lovely people from National Trails UK as well, because
yeah.
you've got Lindsay round, and she did a wonderful job of promoting the National Trails and raising money for the National Trails and
Thank
for
you,
Mind as
National
well.
Trails.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the work
Oh,
you do. So much. I call you the quiet warriors because there is so much that you do that many people never ever know or will understand. And the officers that came out to walk with me, as I
oh,
did that last year, the things that they shared and the work and the time that you dedicate to enable us to, yeah, to walk, dance, wheelchair, sit, paint, whatever it might be, in urban and natural spaces. So thank you very,
oh.
very much.
And thank you to everyone who has listened in today. We are bang on time. How about that? I'm sure Lindsay would love it if you kept bombarding her with questions. And we look forward to hearing more and seeing your new website and following
Yeah,
you and watching your documentary next year. Um, so thank you for all you do.
thank you.
And I'm going to close off
Let's
there.
dance.